Cartilage means firm and flexible tissue. We call it as cartilaginous fishes. And then examples are sharks and skates. Bony fishes with skeleton made up of bones, like which we have in our food, like carps and mullets are the bony fishes. So this is shark. So you can see the jaws. This is the lower jaw and this is the upper jaw. Next is class Amphibia. So here amphi means both, bios means life, which means they live their life both on land and water. So these are the first four-legged tetrapods. So tetra means four, pods means the elongated legs, we call it as pods. Tetra-legged vertebrates with dual adaptation to live in both land and water. The body is divisible into head and trunk. After head, the remaining part of the body we call it as trunk. The skin is moist and have mucus gland. So mucus means what? A slimy liquid. Respiration is through gills, lungs, skin or buccopharynx. Buccopharynx means mouth along with the pharynx, which means our what is this? Alimentary canal, we call it as pharynx. The heart is three-chambered with two auricles and one ventricle. They lay their eggs in water. Though they live both land and water, but they lay their eggs only in water. The tadpole larva transforms into an adult. So the baby one will be transformed into an adult. Examples are frog and toad. Next we have is class Reptilia. Here rapier means to crawl or to creep. That is, they will move on the land. These vertebrates are fully adapted to life on land. So reptiles, they all will be having their life only on the land. Their body is covered with horny, means like very sharp. Epidermal scales means outside their body. Epidermal means outside the outer part of the skin. They have horny skins like scales. Respiration is through lungs. The heart is three-chambered, but one exemption is crocodiles. They have four-chambered heart. This is very important. All the reptiles, they have three-chambered heart, but except crocodile, which have four-chambered heart. Most of the reptiles lay their legs with tough outer shell, like we are having the egg which we take in our daily life. Yes or no? Normal eggs, they are having a thick shell, no? So all these reptiles also will lay their egg with the outer shell, which will be very thick. Examples are callets, lizards, snake, tortoise, turtles. All these eggs I think you would have seen in any picture at least. So this you can see, horns you can see on the skin. So that is outside, that scales are very horny scales. So this is callet. Next we have is class aves. Aves means bird. So birds are homeothermic, means they are warm-blooded animals with several adaptations to fly. Means they have different adaptations for in flying itself. The spindle or boat shaped body is divisible into boat shaped it is. So when you see a crow also, it won't be straight. It is like something slanting and bent. Yes or no? So that is, we call it as spindle or boat shaped body is divisible into head along with the neck, and the remaining part of the body we call it as trunk. In between, that is, they will be having all this stomach, all the respiratory system, and finally the tail. The body is covered with feathers, which we all know. Forelimbs are modified into wings for flight. Forelimbs means the legs which is present in the front. That is, they will be using it for flight, means for flying. Hind limbs means which is present at the back. They will be using it for walking. Perching means to collect food or for swimming. The respiration is generally through lungs, which have air sacs. Like us, like human beings, they'll be having air sacs. Bones are filled with air, which means if you cut and see the bone, you can see the you can see a hollow space inside the bone, nothing is filled inside the bones. So that kind of bones, if a bone is filled with air, that bones we call it as pneumatic bones. How to pronounce? P is silent here. Pneumatic bones, which reduces the body weight. Since they don't have anything present inside their bones, their body weight is very less, so that they can fly very easily. They lay large yolk laden eggs. So the yolk means what? The yellow color part generally will be large in nature for them. They are covered with hard calcareous shell. So as we discussed before, like here, their shells also will be very hard. Example: parrot, crow, eagle, pigeon and ostrich. So here this is the head, this is the neck, and this part we call it as trunk, and this part we call it as tail. Next we have is class Mammalia. Mamma means breast. Mammals are warm-blooded animals. They are. The skin is covered with hairs. Even human beings are also mammals only. We are also having skin covered with hair. It also bears sweat and sebaceous glands, which means oil glands. Even we have sweat glands, we do sweat, and also we secrete oil on our skin, that is we call it as sebaceous glands. The body is divisible into head, neck, trunk and tail. So as we discussed before, head part will be there, neck we are having, the remaining part we call it as trunk, and the tail part is our legs. Like here in animals we call it as tail. Females have mammary glands which secrete milk for feeding the young ones. So females are generally females only will be feeding the young ones with the help of their mammary glands. And also they have the external ear, which we call it as pinnae, which is also is present. Then their heart is four chambered and they breathe through their lungs. Except egg laying mammals, we have two egg laying mammals, that is platypus and spiny anteater. All the other mammals give birth to their young ones. So only those two animals will lay eggs here, but they are also mammals only. But other mammals, they directly give birth to their young ones. We call them as viviparous. Placenta is a unique characteristic feature of mammals. Placenta means where the baby grows in the stomach, we call it as placenta. Example: rat, rabbit and man. So one of the examples, very common example is rat. Here I have given. So we are going to see the summary. So almost we have completed this lesson, children, animal kingdom. So in today's class we have discussed with the subphylum vertebrata. Without jaws, we saw example as cyclostoma, because they don't have proper jaws. They have their mouth circular in shape, they don't have jaws. And vertebrate with jaws, we saw pisces, example shark and mullet. And amphibia, amphi means what? Both. Bios means life, they can live both on land and water. And class reptilia, they will crawl on the land. Class A's, we saw birds. Class Mammalia, we saw about the mammals. So in the next class, I'll meet you with another new lesson. Thank you, children.